those living with disabilities to apply. KTN News. Get the whole story.
We're standing in the middle of Brana Conservancy, and a big part of our philosophy on the Conservancy is to be as energy efficient as possible with power, use of natural resources. So behind me what you're looking at is a 270 panel solar farm which delivers power, 74 kilowatts of power, to 2 lodges, one either side of this hill. The lodges are Brana and Ngilu. And through this solar farm, which we installed and built and commissioned in 2018, designed by a Kenyan company, CAT. Obviously, a lot of the panels come from different parts of the world, but the panels, I think, are from China. The batteries come from Greece, the inverters. I'll talk you through all of this. But we're using now down to 5% or less of fossil fuels. In a good month, we have no generator running time at all. Okay, so this is where the power comes and charges the batteries. And it comes through these 2 charge controllers and flows straight into the batteries. And then at night, so these are the three phases we have. There's two inverters for each phase. One is a master, one is a slave. So that's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And at night there's a seamless transition and the power continues, but it's now running off batteries that have been charged during the day. We should be able to see here currently it's about 12 o'clock and the batteries are already at 88%. So by this evening those batteries will be at 100%. We'll run them. I'll show you the batteries in a minute, but we don't let them go below 75% capacity. If you do that, this system you'll get good life out of the batteries and it'll last for a long time. So in here is our battery station and also the standby generator. And so during the day, these are being charged up, as I explained. They get to 100% hopefully. And at night, you deplete the energy and you take them down to not more than 65, 70%, I think is the setting. And of course, we have a standby generator, which is 100 kilowatts. And if that needs to run, it'll run automatically when these batteries get to a certain level. I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but Kenya, my understanding, is #1 in Africa for sustainable energy, and it's #5 in the world. So we, as a country, are very advanced in adopting these technologies. And whilst it's expensive, this 74 kilowatt system is a 25 million shilling investment. It will pay for itself over 5 years. We used to run generators 24 hours a day, and they're using up to 20 litres of fuel an hour, you can really burn through the fuel. But then you've got to service them. And then also it's not clean because you've got to deal with oil filters, replacements, the pollution that comes from the exhaust. This is 100% clean and it's totally silent. So it really doesn't get any better. You're strategic. When you go and buy a new fridge or freezer or cooker, you look at its eco rating. And if it's got a good eco rating and it's not using very many kilowatts of power, then you buy it. And you avoid the ones that are heavy on usage. And actually, you know, if everybody around the world and in Kenya did that in their homes, power consumption would come down, and it would be much better for our planet and our country.
KTN News. Get the whole story.
Hello, good morning, and many thanks indeed for joining us on Siesta Fiesta. It is this is 19th, I should say 20th. We still have Rigathi, who is actually on phone here, distracting me a bit. Having a light moment here on the show. We have our guests already in studio with us. Hello, good morning, and many thanks indeed for joining us today. We have a riveting show today, of course, looking at what has been happening over the weekend, last week's nominations as well, and also the cry and the clarion call for the DP seat from the Azimio La Umoja One Kenya Alliance. We're given to understand last night there was a meeting between, of course, the principals, or amongst the principals, that is Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga, and Kalonzo Musyoka. Kalonzo Musyoka was summoned at around 4:30 p.m. while they were still having a meeting with the Wiper Party leaders to go to State House and meet up with Raila Odinga in regard to try and quell what is now rising to be a very tensed Azimio La Umoja One Kenya Alliance house in regard to, of course, the deputy president position as well. Still on that, we have the women also fronting for the deputy president position to be given to Martha Karua. What does this really portend as far as, of course, that particular position is concerned? On the other end, we have Musalia, who has been given or promised a top-notch cabinet position as far as finances are concerned, which is really right up his alley. And we will be also looking at that much later in the course of the program. But for now, let me just give introductory remarks to our panelists who are already here. Herman Manyora, who is a political commentator. Also, we do have with us Rigathi Gachagua, who is a member of Parliament, Madeira. Also, we have with us Dan Mazo, who is a member of Parliament, Makueni. Otena Molo is away, missed a flight yesterday. And so is also Aaron Cheriot this morning as well. He's away in Kericho. But let's just begin with the panelists. Dan Mazo, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, you look warm with your pull neck this morning.
Yes, Nairobi has been raining.
It has been raining.
Yes.
Change of weather.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good fortune for Nairobi. You know, right now at least it's been a dry spell all over the country. So we thank God for the rains.
Yes.
Well, I'm expecting you to say something about the meeting yesterday before we plumb deeper. So
yes, it is true.
So you were called. Kalonzo was called for a meeting, 4:30. You were meeting yesterday as a Wiper Party.
Yes, we had a meeting as NEC.
Yes.
And I remember him telling me he's off for a meeting. He didn't tell me to where and with who. But I later learned that it was Azimio Principals meeting. I don't have further details of that meeting.
You don't have further details of that meeting?
Yes, I'm going to meet him this morning at about 10 a.m. So I guess I could get some information about it.
Yes. Okay. All right. Herman Manyora, good to see you.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
You were away also in Western?
I was in Western Kenya. I lost a nephew. I went to send him off. And I'm back in the city.
Okay.
Yes.
We're really sorry about that. But also we saw you at a meeting
I went to say to say Pole to a young man who's a friend of mine, lost his father somewhere in Pesero, and the politicians asked me to greet people. Then they captured me on camera. I'm very annoyed with the KTN crew.
Why are you annoyed?
Why did they capture me on camera?
But you're a newsmaker, aren't you?
Me, I analyze news. I don't make news.
But it seems lately you're really making news.
No. I analyze news.
Are you sure you analyze news or you're a newsmaker?
They should have captured a trolley alone and the rest, not me.
Then you shouldn't have been on the podium as well.
No, I was just greeting people.
But that didn't sound like greetings, what we captured.
No,
Why would you capture greetings alone?
Thank you.
Rigathi, good to see you. Congratulations, yes, for a well carried out nominations that we saw on UDA, despite the fact, of course, there were skirmishes here and there. You'll tell us more about it, but also congratulations to you on keeping your ticket. But you'll tell us also more about people who are raising special umbrage with the fact that they felt shortchanged, especially in UDA, regarding this particular nominations. Wilson Susion is one of them. We have also Susan Kihika. We don't know what is really happening on social media. It's a Twitter storm that we saw. And or Farouk Kibet as well. So what is going on in that particular front? First of all, you can just speak overally on what really happened with the nominations.
Thank you very much. The nominations were very, very, very successful by any rate, 95%. No other political party is prepared to go the way we went, because it's not a joke. In terms of logistics, in terms of management, in terms of making sure that the people are given an opportunity to decide who their leaders are. I must say 95% were very successful, and we are dealing with the 5%. And it's not been easy. We have been working round the clock since Wednesday last week, day and night. And the most difficult part is giving emotional support to losers. You know, losing an election, I don't know whether you have ever undergone an election, even in the school as a prefect. As a prefect or something.
Yes, I know.
So we need to give a lot of emotional support to those who lost, because they are our friends, they are our partners, they are our supporters. But it's going on very well, and we are very, very encouraged. Just want to tell my in-law here, the professor, he's my in-law, that nowadays, if you don't want to say anything, never say it.
Never say it.
And whatever you say, you must be prepared to repeat. Because with this new technology of smartphones and all that, anything you say is recorded. So
there's no escaping.
There is no, even if the KTN cameras were not there, everybody has a smartphone. And you have seen the the things that our president said 10 years ago are haunting him. You know, they are on record. So today, anything I say, I must be prepared to repeat it tomorrow, the day after, next year. So you have to be very calculated. You must think what you say.
You must think of what you say.
So this thing of just saying things to please people for the moment, they'll come to haunt you later.
And especially this season when you're making many promises.
If you don't want ever to be quoted, don't say anything.
Indeed. Okay. I'm just trying to put my ducks in a row momentarily. I shall give you what is on the daily. It's very interesting headlines we have today. Ngilu to Raila pick Karua for running mate. That is what is headlining the front page of the Standard. I'll show you what we have the soft copy as well just in a moment. And do they stand a DP chance? That is another headlining story on the front page of the Daily Nation this morning. The Star, I alluded to you, that is carrying that particular story of Musalia being given or promised that particular cabinet position. Let me just try and just give you the full details of that so that we can go continue pace with the conversation. But just maybe briefly, I'll come back to you, Rigathi, on that particular promise that is being given to Musalia Mudavadi regarding the CS position. I think that should be the CS Finance, if I'm not wrong. Could you tell us more about this conversation, and how is that also shaping up the conversation on DP with the Mount Kenya? Because we saw before they were also pushing the envelope from Western Kenya that this should be, given to Musalia Mudavadi. Then they flinched. Now we have new development that now this particular position is reserved, that is the Cabinet Secretary Finance is reserved for Musalia Mudavadi?
Jiba, I'm not privy to any arrangement in Kenya Kwanza Alliance about Musalia Mudavadi. And I don't know where that has come from.
Yes.
If it is there, it's not within my knowledge. What is within my knowledge is that a lot of discussions around the economy continue in the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. And Musalia has been very, very categorical that positions are irrelevant. What is important is economic programs to revive the Kenyan economy and restore the wealth and the dignity of the Kenyan people.
Yes.
And that is where we've found convergence.
Yes.
Because, you know, ourselves on our side in UDA, we have been pushing the bottom-up economic model. And Musalia has been pushing the Pesa Mfukoni strategy. And that is where we found convergence. Our discussions largely, for now, have been around the economy and the programs that we need to put in place to restore the wealth of the Kenyan people, to restore the dignity of the Kenyan people. And in the worst case scenario, in the first 3 years of our government,
yes,
restore Kenya to where President Mwai Kibaki left it. You know, that's a minimum. You know, we are saying, because we are inheriting a dilapidated economy with a huge public debt and almost everything coming to a halt, escalating food prices, escalating fuel prices, and you know, general deterioration of the economy, we are saying that we would want to attempt in the first 3 years of government, even if we don't achieve much, in the first 3 years, try to restore the Kenyan state to where President Mwai Kibaki left it. Because when Kibaki exited in early 2013, he left a vibrant economy. There was money in circulation in the economy. People had money in their pockets. And life was really not very bad. You know, people could make ends meet and be able to pay bills and be able to go about their lives. So that is a discussion that I am privy to between Musalia Mudavadi, William Ruto, Moses Wetangula, ourselves, and all the people who have joined us. Our discussion for now has been centered around that. And I wouldn't know about positions because for the last weeks, Deputy President William Ruto and all of us are focused on the UDA primaries. And even up to now, that is what we are working on. I don't think there has been any time for us to discuss positions and to discuss who will be what in the next government. But if there is such a discussion, I must admit that I'm not private to it. And if I'm not private to it, chances are that there are no such discussions.
Really?
Because ordinarily I would be private.
So this is what is on the star. I just want to show you momentarily. This is what the star is holding for us, if we may just pick it up. Musalia to land finance top job in Ruto cabinet. This is what it says. And on top there, the flag reads, power sharing. It's unfortunate that you don't have the star right now, but I think it's running late. We'll have it so that you can see. But there you have it. It says Musalia to land finance top job in Ruto cabinet. And you can see power sharing, that is what the flag is there. UDA, according to sources, will get 50% of government. And we have Ford Kenya's Wetangula to succeed Ken Lusaka as Senate Speaker. This is a story that you can follow on page 8 of the Star this morning. So you're not privy to this particular development?
I'm not privy.
But I thought you actually the mix of UDA, you're the main cog that is driving, this particular engine.
Saying,
so this information.
I have said the fact that I'm not privy means there's no such discussion. You know, the Star has been very it's become alarmist. You know, the other day they did some fake opinion polls and saying that Raila Odinga is head of.
But how would you call it fake?
Yeah, because we know
we
were I had during our delegates conference. In my address, I told the people of Kenya that fake opinion polls will be coming from the Star 2 days after they came. We know many things. You know, this hustler nation thing is everywhere, including in newsrooms. We have sources everywhere, including here. You know, we are everywhere in the National Intelligence Service.
So you have intelligence also
in the DCI, in Harambee House, in State House, in banks. This hustler nation thing is real. Because we are talking about 90% of the population. So you find that out of every 10 people in whatever sector, The hustler nation is there. And that is how, even as Uhuru Kenyatta and the entire government has tried to plan against us, it's become impossible because we are ahead of them in terms of information. Those polls, we were told what the Star had been given by Harambee House to try to prepare people and to try to sway public opinion that Raila is gaining ground. So I don't give much credence to what Star is saying after those fake opinion polls. And I say it as much because I think it's a newspaper that is being used, to spew narratives, everyday political narratives. And we want to appeal to the media to be very careful because there will be a change of government. And they need to remain objective because when they are obviously biased against one candidate and promoting another candidate, they run the risk of annihilating followers who read their newspaper, who listen to the radio, who watch TV, because people debal. This is not the time we had KBC. KBC was the only source of information.
Yes.
Today, when there are political rallies and you try to give them a blackout on the TV in the evening, during the day, through the social media, people are following these meetings. They are ahead of the TV stations. They are ahead of the press. All the news now, right here today. The previous day, people are aware of what is going on.
Thank you.
So people are very enlightened. So I would like to invite the media to go along with the Kenyan people, to know that the Kenyan people are very informed, and they are very exposed, and just to be objective, because it's important to be objective.
But if I may ask just briefly, and then we continue with Dan Maz on that particular headlining story on the Standard as well, Ngilu to Raila pick up Karua for running mate. I thought, and this is not confirmed to me, maybe you can I thought also Dr. William Ruto has shares at Radio Africa. So the Star should maybe, be leaning towards, or maybe they are objective at the end of the day, so they don't really go against the grain, or maybe, so to speak, if he's got some shares. I'm not saying that because he has some shares, then the Stars now, though the Star will actually be leaning to, or the polls will be leaning towards William Ruto, but they stand to be an objective newspaper, and speak the truth as it is. So if Raila is gaining traction, then of course they will report that Raila is getting traction according to their own poll survey.
I'm not aware whether
You're not aware?
I am not aware whether he has shares or not. And the issue is not the ownership. The issue is subjectivity.
Is it objectivity?
So let's be objective, because we live in this country and we know what is going on. We know you are able to see when a newspaper is leaning towards a certain political narrative. We are intelligent people. We have been around for a long time. And the people of Kenya are ahead of all these editors, by the way. They are ahead of us leaders. The people of Kenya are the ones now who are setting the narrative in this country. The ordinary one.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, I just want to show you what we have. Of course, you've been seeing what is on the front page of the Standard this morning. Ngilu to Raila. Pick Karua for running mates. This is what Ngilu is telling Raila right now, and that is what is on the front page of the Star this morning. State House race. We have Kitui Governor and other members of Azimio Women's League challenging coalition's presidential nominee, Raila Odinga, to pick a woman for running mate just a day after Kalonzo said he must be on the presidential ticket. And this story, you have it on page 5 of the Star this morning. And we have a bite here. The Constitution of Kenya calls for 50-50, and therefore, as a new leader, our presidential candidate will be considering a woman to be a running mate. And we have the faces there spread there. NAK Kenya leader Martha Karua, Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka. And that story continues on page 5 of the Standard. But before we move on with that, we have, of course, those bites from the women yesterday who are agitating for this position. Let's hear what they had to say.
Earlier day after Kalonzo Musyoka and his allies upped their demand that the running mate slot in the Raila Odinga presidential campaign be reserved for the Wiper Party leader. Women leaders led by Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu have come up with their own list of demands on the same. The Azimio Women League has partnered with Maendeleo Wanawake to push for a woman to be considered for the post to deputize Odinga.
It's as simple as this. Martha Karua, Deputy President, Azimio. We do not know why it's rocket science. We do not see how you cannot see the value of Martha. And one of the values of Martha is, of course, she's a national figure. She has vied for presidency. Martha has been a minister. She knows how to run government. And Martha's record speaks for itself.
The new twist in the running mate debate could further strain relations between Ngilu and Kalonzo, who have recently trapped bars after Ngilu and her colleague governors from Ukambani challenged Kalonzo's supremacy in the region's politics. Speaking after a consultative meeting with Azimio Women League Monday, Ngilu was, however, quick to downplay any differences between her and the Wiper Party leader.
Have you seen any difference between me and the leadership here? No. If there is a person who has any difference with me, I have no difference with anybody. My difference is only about the issues that we represent.
The group is, however, eager to get a woman to deputize Raila and say they will soon forward the names to the former Prime Minister and President Uhuru Kenyatta for consideration.
As you know, there are 26 political parties here. And we as women representing those 26 political parties will certainly sit down. And you'll sit down also with Baba. And you'll sit down with His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta and tell him this is what we want.
It is under our Constitution, Article 27(3) of our Constitution. It's very clear that we as women, we have our 50% share. Those days of 1 to 7, when you used to have 1 man to 7 women, those days are over. So what you're saying as Nairobi women and Kenyan women is that we want an equal share in the next dispensation.
Actually, with 52% on the table, it is not asking for too much to say the second in command should be a woman of Kenya.
This, even as IEBC has given presidential hopefuls until Thursday next week to pick their running mates for the August election. The additional pressure by the women further complicates the running mate arithmetic for Odinga, with sources indicating that the Mount Kenya region is rooting for former Gatanga Member of Parliament Peter Kenneth. Others on the list for consideration for the slot include Laikipia Governor Nderito Mureithi, Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanjui, and Agriculture CS Peter Munya.
Everywhere in politics, there's negotiation and talks. I have been in talks many times before, even when we were forming Jubilee. I know these talks, how they happen. We know how negotiations are done. And what we are saying is that we are now also in the negotiation space for Martha Karua.
Karua had her Raila moment this March in a surprise move that ended months of speculation over which side of the political divide she would eventually join. With the IEBC deadline of 10 days for a presidential aspirant to pick their running mate, Odemdile Raila Odinga could have a lot in his hands, as now the Azimio Women League are demanding for women to have the same slot. Grace Nganga, KTN News, Nairobi.
Well, even while that was happening, if you've just joined the show this morning, I had mentioned earlier that President Uhuru Kenyatta last evening met with Kalonzo Musyoka and Right Honorable Raila Odinga on the DP post that is raising a lot of course, speculations right now. And this is also what is on the front page of the People Daily. Uhuru meets Raila, Kalonzo on DP post. But again, Wiper leader is told to go slow on demand of running mate position as women leaders vouch for Karua as the best option for the alliance. This story on page 6 of the People Daily this morning. And the right person that can tell us more about this, although each of them, we have Rigathi Gachagua saying he's not privy about Musalia Mudavadi's position as a cabinet secretary for finance that is reserved for him. We have also Dan Mazo saying that he's not privy to what really carried out or what really transpired. Of course, I wouldn't really push you on that because you're not in that meeting. Only the principals were meeting. But let's come back to you because you are the person that has been on this table and you've been also flip-flopping as far as the position of a DP president is concerned, being reserved for Kalonzo Musyoka. You're saying that it is either Kalonzo Musyoka gets the DP position or you are looking at other options. What other options do you have? Because you've stated clearly that you'll not work with, you know, the side of Kenya Kwanza, as it were.
Yes, the option we have now is Azimio Oka, and we already signed our agreement with Azimio, and the agreement has been forwarded to the Registrar of Political Parties office. This particular agreement was earlier on expected to have the chairperson of Azimio Oka coalition as President Uhuru Kenyatta, the presidential candidate as Raila Odinga, and the deputy presidential candidate as Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. But as things will go, that particular inclusion did not happen. It did not happen that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka was part of what was filed at the Registrar of Political Parties offices. But that's not being the case. There is an expectation, owing that the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka was Vice President of the Republic of Kenya. In 2013, he was a running mate of Honorable Raila Odinga. In 2017, he was running mate of Honorable Raila Odinga. Politics is a game of numbers. And I have nothing against the Honorable Martha Karua or the Honorable Ngilu. They have their right, but I'm very sure each one of these political parties is looking at a win. So if Azimio Oka is looking at a win and wants to form the next government, and the Honorable Charity Ngilu, current governor of Kitui, is aware that politically in Kitui she's already doing badly as a governor. So I'm sure she's hoping that she is the next government if the Honorable Raila Odinga forms it. But that would not happen if she messes up with the numbers together with the Women League. I have nothing against the Women League at their rightful positions. I'll personally propose and think that Honorable Martha Karua, being a very senior lawyer in the country and a very good one, is best suited to be the Speaker of the National Assembly, which is still the third senior most position if Azimio Oka forms government. But if they continue doing what they are doing, clearly, then they will be working against Azimio Oka itself when they are within it. The numbers will not work. You know the recent call after this looking like a betrayal of Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka by Honorable Raila Odinga again, then in where we have followers of Wiper Party, and we have quite a number of regions, the political call has been no Kalonzo, no Raila. And it means that Kenyans have a choice, and our followers have a choice. I have seen the Honorable Raila Odinga advise his people from his backyard and from ODM to vote 6-piece. But we are saying, if you don't see on the presidential ballot paper the name of Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, then as his followers, we abstain that ballot. And therefore, we will not be voting 6-piece in that regard, but we will vote 5-piece. And this is politics. It is a game of numbers. And if Raila Odinga really wants the numbers, he must know that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka has the numbers. If he does not want the numbers and does not want to become president, then he should consider listening to the Honorable Charity Ngilu, and they'll sing together.
All right. So, but it appears they'll sing together.
Yes.
You're saying this with your tongue family in cheek. But it seems also there is such a fractionated Ukambani politics that it's coming to bear right now. Kalonzo Musyoka, Charity Ngilu, also Kifudha Kibwana, they are not seeing eye to eye. Don't you think collectively, if you are on this particular table, even if it's just single vote that really can come from Ngilu or, and I'm saying also this with my tongue family in cheek, or a single vote coming from Alfred Mutua or Kifudha Kibwana, that can make a discernible difference. Even yesterday we were saying, you know, Hitler came to power because he came to power because of the power of one vote at the end of the day. One vote really counts. So what is happening, before we even put the DP question on the table, with Charity Ngilu, Alfred Mutua, Kifudha Kibwana, and your principal, Kalonzo Musyoka?
I can assure you the three governors have been fighting the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. And I can assure you none of them...
But why will they fight him? Is there any rhyme or reason for this fight?
Well, they don't want him to become the deputy president. It is as simple as that. They did not even want him to be in Azimio, although they pretended he should join Azimio.
They pretended?
They pretended that he should join Azimio. And now that they pressurized him from the lips, but deep inside them, not wanting him to be in Azimio, I can assure you they are currently of no political consequence in the Lower Eastern or in the 3 counties where they are already elected. 2 of the governors are exiting. Obviously, they are looking for a job within Azimio, and they feel threatened if the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka was going to become deputy president. I can assure them that the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka will definitely take care of them if he were to be deputy president. None of them will be mistreated or lack in any event. But I can assure you, currently they are of no political consequence. They have very little following. The Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka has 100% following of the Lower Eastern, and you will see it with the election in Kitui County.
All right. Okay, let me just cross over to Haban Manyora. Listening to what Manzo is saying. Yeah, let's start from here. Yes, we will go there.
Yes. You know, it's very interesting. Political leaders always lose the big picture. They always go for the small thing, small antelope. When a whole buffalo is waiting to be slaughtered, if I were Kalonzo, I would look at the bigger picture. I'll look at the long game. If you look at the short game, you are going for a deputy president. That is a small position. Ruto's tenure has showed you that being deputy president is almost nothing, really, at the end of the day. In fact, a good cabinet position is better than being running mate, deputy president, if that is terminal, if you are looking at it as terminal. So I would look at it, if I were Kalonzo, in terms of what is in this thing in the long run, not in the short run. Because if you are made deputy president and you are treated the way Ruto has been treated, and you are denied everything, so then it is terminal. That at the end of the 5 years, the game doesn't include you at all. So that's what I'm saying, Manzo, go and tell Kalonzo, look at the long game. It's true the numbers count. And if the numbers count, Kalonzo brings more numbers than anybody from his area, from Mount Kenya region. That is a fact. And unless Uhuru, of course, does more than he has done so far. And it's possible he can achieve more. But if we were to, based on what influence Uhuru has as of today, then we could safely assume and conclude that Wiper will bring more numbers. But unfortunately, Dan Manzo, it's not just about numbers. Numbers are the hardware. You need the software. This is a complicated game. This game has interest. This is a big game and it's long term. It's a long range game with a grand strategy. So you have to look at where you belong. If I were Kalonzo Musyoka, I would know in this game, whether these people like it or not, I will be president in 2027 at 0 option. They will have no option. At 0 option, the grand masters of this game will need Kalonzo in 2027. So go and advise him to look at the long game, not his long game, people's long game, and squeeze his interest in that long game.
But Harman, it appears also this, the DP position.
Yes.
Everyone is putting much premium on the DP position.
Yes.
Even from Kenya Kwanza, you know, the Azimio, but particularly the Azimio fraternity as it is right now, because it seems it is not about the 2022 general election. This is about the 2027 general election at the end of the day.
You see, for Uhuru Kenyatta,
I'm given to understand that also Kalonzo has been, we've had a meeting. Now this is another meeting we can see with the President Uhuru Kenyatta last night regarding this particular crisis. And in that particular meeting, he was told, this is about 2022 2027. It's not about 2022,
yes.
right? So position yourself. Open your eyes.
Open your eyes.
Open your eyes.
Don't listen to Mdani Manzo and the other guy from where? What do you call him?
Dan Manzo and Eric Wambua and Mutula Kilonzo at the end of the day, who maybe they're the people who are the main guys who are, you know, putting this stance at the end of the day.
And because you see, he wants to be elected senator, so he's playing his game. Wambua is playing his game. Kalonzo is heir apparent to Kambani Kingdom. He's strategizing to inherit Kalonzo. So they are playing their game, and Kalonzo has to come out smarter. He has provided leadership and not listen to people who will mislead him. The big game, the long game, you must ask yourself, if you are made running mate to Raila Odinga, and it is terminal, because you do not fit in the game. 2022 is a very small aspect of this game, if you ask me. Very small aspect. The bigger game is long. It goes to 2032, 37, Ukombele and beyond. So if you give a running mate today, and then it terminates in 2027 and you go home, so what does it benefit you? It's good to look at the long game, ask yourself, how can I play in this game in such a way that by 2027, if I'm Kalonzo Musyoka, if Kalonzo Musyoka plays this game intelligently, I'm telling you, he will be made presidential candidate and president of Kenya in 2027 at zero option to the grandmasters. They need him. For their plan to succeed, they need a Kalonzo Musyoka.
So maybe Kalonzo is also clinging by the fingernails, owing to the promise that he's been given and the conversation they've had on the table that in 2027 it will be a shoe in for him as far as presidency is concerned.
At zero option.
He has to be.
They don't even need to love him. They don't even need to love him.
Azimio.
Yeah, pardon?
I'm saying he has maybe to now join Azimio because it will be a shoe-in for him in 2027.
Correct.
And be given the deputy president position.
Deputy president?
Yes.
I very much doubt anybody would have told him that. I don't talk to them about things like those. I meet some of them once in a while, but I'm too junior to talk to them about such a big things. I've never tried to. In fact, last time I was near Raila, I said, people who are forcing Raila to tell them about running mate, they are being very unfair. If he's watching, he can confirm.
Okay.
Because it is a big game. To ask him to tell you who his running mate is to be, and I doubt, Deba.
Yes.
I very much doubt there was such a conversation. These guys are more honest. They are saying when Mudavadi joined, there was no such a conversation. They already had their own designs. I also doubt that at the time Kalonzo was joining, they could have had a conversation along the lines of him being running mate. He could have imagined or wanted to, or thought he was so important, and indeed is very important, that naturally, because of the numbers he's bringing, naturally, he will be made running mate. But I don't think such a promises were made. Because if they were made,
thank you.
Why is it still an issue up to now?
Why is it an issue? Okay. Rigathi, what are you reading from this as well? And from your own standpoint, looking at, we'll go back to the Star, and this promise now that Musalia is to land the finance top job. You've said you're not privy to it at the end of the day, but let's just say if it were true that there was such a meeting and Musalia Mudavadi will be now, let's say, the Cabinet Secretary Treasury, land top job. This is what Star is saying. We may just pick it up for the sake of the viewers who have not seen it. Is Mount Kenya now standing on a very good state to actually keep and make good of the promise of Deputy President William Ruto that the DP position is reserved for Mount Kenya? And you were poised as a very, solid running mate for Deputy President William Ruto. And I remember you made a statement somewhere else, and of course also there was a lot of reaction from ANC. Now we can see maybe there's a deal on the table. Are you still, if you were to be picked as a Deputy President for William Ruto, are you still warming up to such an idea? Or on the ground you want to, listen to what people of Madeira are saying?
Jiba, we don't want to discuss hypothesis.
Hypothesis, okay.
See, that story from the staff told you is hypothetical. And I don't want to.
But this hypothesis, sometimes they really come up to be true.
I don't want to go with it because I've told you that we are dealing with real issues. I've said here many times and again, the people of the mountain region are not very fussy about positions.
Okay.
For the simple reason, Currently, they have the top prize, the presidency, one of their own. Yet, the people of Mount Kenya region have suffered unprecedented economic challenges and woes when one of their own is president. So the people of the mountain do not think that having one of their own at number 1 or 2 is the panacea, is a solution to their problems. Yeah? What the people of the mountain are looking for are sound economic programs and interventions. And that has been the thing that we have been discussing with our presidential candidate, Dr. William Ruto. The issues of the guaranteed minimum return for our cash crops, the issue of zero tolerance on evictions and demolitions, the establishment of a biashara fund to empower small-scale traders and farmers, the issue of restoring the wealth and the dignity of the Mountain Kenya people. The mountain people have a lot of nostalgia about President Mwai Kibaki. They really miss that old man because they had a good time. Everybody had some money and business was thriving. Today, if you looked at this Nation newspaper, yes, from page, I would want, from page 30,
Page 30, yes. I'll
31, 32, 33, 34, 35. They are all auctions. They are auctions.
Okay.
If you go to the lower part, 80% of this advert, you'll find the owners of the properties that are being auctioned or the guarantors are people from the mountain. We have suffered unprecedented economic challenges during the reign of President Uhuru Kenyatta. If you remember, Deba, you were around during the tenure of President Mwai Kibaki. If you went, probably say NHIF building, there are many banks there.
Yes.
You would have found some tents outside there. One for Equity, one for Barclays, one for Standard, one for Family Bank, with some nice looking girls dressed well, asking people to come and open accounts so that you can be lent money. Today, if you walk to any bank, you'll find a big queue waiting to see the credit manager of some elderly, frail-looking men and women holding handkerchiefs and crying as they are trying to have their loans rescheduled, as they are trying to cry to the bank manager not to auction their property. We are saying our focus for now, Diba, and I want to repeat it here. We from the Mount Kenya region, we are going to give anybody the presidency who has a sound economic plan to revive our economic fortunes. We have asked Dr. William Ruto to have us included in his government to assist him to realize that objective in whatever capacity. We have requested unconditionally the position of the running mate, okay? But we have not given him a condition. And you can find that, I like what is happening in Azimio, where they are forming a committee to choose a running mate for Raila Odinga. In our camp, nobody is forming a committee to decide for William Ruto who will be his deputy. That is his prerogative. It is him to look around, look at the people around him, look at the qualities of what he would want in a deputy, look at who would assist him to transform this country economically, look at the numbers, look at the political equation. But you see in Azimio, Raila Odinga is a project. Even these people, Akina Ngilu, who are asking Raila to name Martha Karua, they are talking to the wrong person. Raila has no say in this matter. Azimio and Raila Odinga are a project of President Uhuru Kenyatta. What these women caucus should do is book an appointment with President Uhuru Kenyatta and go and talk to him and implore upon him to consider Martha Karua. That is the right person. Talking to Raila Odinga is a waste of time. He has no say in this matter. Raila Odinga is a project of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and he has no say in such matters. He is held captive, he is held hostage, and he is helpless in this matter. They are disturbing the old man, the real grandmaster, as he has said. And it's not a game for 2027. This is a family conspiracy. It's a dynastic conspiracy for 3 families to rule Kenya for the next 200 years. It's not even 27. And Kalonzo Musyoka, Manzo, don't listen to Professor. This guy has been cheated in 2013. He has been cheated in 2017. He is being cheated. Now Professor is telling you to advise Kalonzo Musyoka to sit and be cheated in 2027. The way he said, and I agree with him, that he would be the most stupid person to ever support Raila again. I want to tell him, you tell him, he will be the most stupid person to believe this 2027 nonsense. You know, if they have any plan for him, they give it now. You know, these promises have not been forthcoming. I don't know how you would cheat a man 3 times, and now you want to cheat him about 2017, and Professor here is an advocate for that deceit and conmanship. You know, the problem we're having in this country, Diba, is the politics of deceit and conmanship. And Kalonzo has been very clear, by the way, that he cannot trust Raila Odinga. The only problem I find with him, he is saying he is depending on Uhuru Kenyatta to cushion him from being conned by Raila Odinga. Uhuru cannot cushion him. Uhuru has conned William Ruto. So he also has a problem in terms of conmanship. You wouldn't trust him also.
But who has conned who, you know, in the Jubilee?
It's in public domain. We told,
but we've heard, of course, each of them, you know, casting or raising accusatory fingers. We hear the deputy president raising accusatory fingers towards the president raising accusatory fingers towards the deputy. Who do we believe?
Well, we are leaving this to the people of Kenya to decide who is conning who, and Diba, we are here. You know, all factors being constant. God being gracious enough to give us life and give us good health. We'll be back here in another 3.5 months. Yeah, and the people of Kenya will make a decisive decision as to who is conning who and how they want to be governed and what is their priority. And when I listen to the people of Kenya, and also where I come from, everybody wants economic change. Everybody wants a priority to be economic empowerment. Everybody wants a government that will fix the economy. You know, all these others are stories, you know. And somebody was telling me, oh, since the Mount Kenya people do not have a presidential candidate, there will be apathy. There will be low voter turnout. Far from it. The people of the mountain will wake up at 4 a.m. because they must bring a government that will champion economic changes.
But going by also UDA primaries that you've seen, especially from Mount Kenya, it seems that we can use it as a harbinger or maybe a bellwether of also the general election, as it were.
No, far from it.
No, but even before, why are you saying far from it? We had the by-elections and you were on the podiums saying, you know, what you see now with the by-elections in Juja and other areas that we had in the country where by-elections were held, what you see now, that is a bellwether of what will be happening, you know, in 2022, you know, August the 9th, general election. Why then are you saying far from it with this particular primaries?
Let me tell you.
We've seen a lot of people that were expected, the big giants, not really getting or garnering that particular ticket at the end of the day. And even this is also exposing Mount Kenya at the end of the day.
No, let me tell you.
People who we thought, and we've always been saying Mount Kenya, William Ruto has bagged Mount Kenya. Do you think this particular exercise has now brought to bear the truth as far as who has clinched Mount Kenya?
No, you see, William Ruto was not on the ballot in these primaries. These primaries were hotly contested in our backyards, the Rift Valley and the Mount Kenya region. That tells you where you find primaries are hotly contested. That tells you that is a party of choice in that particular area. And what has happened is that people close to Dr. William Ruto have been rejected by the people because we are telling the people, let Uhuru Kenyatta not tell us whom to elect as president. The voters are saying, even William Ruto cannot tell us who will be our governor. Hatupangwingwi. That thing is real. And what has happened is that our party, the UDA, has allowed the people to decide. Like Kenneth Matiba said in 1992, let the people decide. You have seen Diba in Bomet, a 24-year-old girl, Toto. Looking at her, she has never gone inside a salon. She doesn't know what is lipstick. She doesn't know, you know, what to, you know, just there. And the people are saying...
She's a plain Jane.
She's a plain girl, and people are saying, this bottom-up thing is a in thing. Let's get a little girl, and make her our women rep. Let me tell you, what is happening with Azimio and Jubilee? They are conducting interviews in hotels. Tell me, this little girl called Toto, if she went to a hotel for an interview, would she have passed through the gate? What happened to that girl? There was an aspirants meeting 3 months ago at the office at the residence of the deputy president. And when she turned up, she came on foot by matatu. The guards at the gate turned her away and said, there's a meeting here for aspirants. You young girl, what are you doing here? She said, I'm an aspirant. The guard said, you stop joking, you go away. You know, just looking at her, they thought it's a joke. And she was there. She was locked out of the meeting for some time. And she insisted. And one of the guards sent a message that there is a little girl here who is insisting she's an aspirant. Yeah, and I think she's crazy. And she was allowed in. And even when she went to the meeting, one of the organizers went and said, you are in the wrong meeting. Yeah? And then she stood and said, I am aspiring to be the women rep for Bomet. Mr. Deputy President, I will deliver this seat. And sure as December 25 is Christmas, she floored giants who are close to the Deputy President. And it has happened. Let me tell you, these primaries are a good thing. We have done 36 counties and allowed people to decide who is going to lead them. If you look at Nandi, there's another 25-year-old girl, plain girl. Go to Kirinyaga, a 28-year-old girl, you know, has been elected by the people. And this bottom-up thing is real. You know, people are saying we want a bottom-up. We want our own to empower one of our own from down, yeah, and bring up. And I can tell you, the Deputy President kept off these primaries. All of us kept off these primaries. And we allowed the people to decide who is going to lead them. And that is the way it should be. You know, and we are saying in the UDA, we have been in the forefront asking President Uhuru Kenyatta, please, don't impose a leader on us, don't tell us. So we must practice what we tell President Uhuru Kenyatta by example, by letting also our people to elect a governor of their choice, a senator of their choice, a member of parliament of their choice, an MC of their choice.
Thank you.
And that is the real thing. And that I can tell you, this election, there are people who are in hotels being given tickets. People are waiting for them on the ground. You know, they are saying, if you are given a ticket from the hotel, go and look for votes there from the waiters and the chefs in that hotel. We are down here. We would have wanted to decide down here who will be the flag bearer. But if you make the decision in a hotel, you go ahead. It's like when the Mount Kenya wealthy people were interviewing presidential candidates at Safari Park, and I felt very sorry for leaders. How do you subject yourself? You want to lead the Republic of Kenya, and some wealthy men call you for an interview to ask you questions. The real interview of a presidential candidate is by the people who give you the job. You know, how do you interview somebody for a job you have no capacity of giving? You know, and those wealthy men now have kept quiet because they realize the people down there do not want that kind of nonsense.
Thank you.
They want to do the interview themselves.
Thank you.
You go to the people and get interviewed by the people who will shortlist you and who will give you the job.
Thank you. Maybe we want to take a short break right now and we'll circle back with you, Dan Marshall. But just briefly, I'll ask you this question to just be marinating over, then we'll circle back with it as well. This particular primaries, do you think has brought UDA to a more unified knot, or it has actually unglued UDA as it were? Looking at also what Susan Kihika has been saying on social media, and just maybe pick it up where he had tweeted to or tagged Honorable Moses Kuria, if my director may just pick it, where she says, Kabamwena Wagai, my friend Musa, that is at Honorable Moses Kuria, you had seen very far. Moses had seen very far because he did not really fold up his party to join UDA. As it is right now, Susan Kihika thinks that UDA is not really a party of a Mount Kenya, is a party of, well, these are the sentiments on the ground. So you don't have to respond right now. Just think about it. We'll circle back with this and more and continue also with the question of course, the running mate and the Uhuru Kenyatta meeting with the two principals, Kalonzo Musyoka and Raila Odinga, in regard to the Kalonzo's demand for the deputy president. He says, hey, slow your roll, because this is bound to make the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance come unglued at the end of the day. You're watching Siasa Fiesta here on Morning Prime. Don't go away. We take a short break right now.
KTN News. Get the whole story.
Are you ready? Uko set. Kenya nzima iko standby.